Okay. Okay. So I want to thank Gila so much for doing this for us and really bringing the Parsha to life and really bringing in things and giving them everything that we have in this world. Baruch Hashem is really, there's so many usages that Hashem loves us so much that he gave us so many ways to be able to understand all these things. And I really believe that everything is given to us with such love for healing. We just have to know. So Gila is one of those people who is in the know of that. Gila Slonim is dedicated to bringing happiness, balance, and harmony into people's lives. She helps clients uncover the source of their challenges, heal emotional and physical struggles, and move forward with clarity and strength. Her approach is both sacred and transformative, using the Avnei Hahoshen and crystals as tools for insight and healing. A social worker with training in psychotherapy and group work, Gila is an expert in crystal healing, integrating the wisdom of the Avnei Hahoshen to support emotional and physical well-being. She considers it a privilege and a zechut to work with these holy creations of Hashem and witness their profound impact. Passionate about sharing this Jewish perspective on crystal healing, Gila leads workshops and hands-on courses, training others in healing and assessment through the power of crystals. With that, I'm going to take myself off. Thank you, Gila.
Okay, I'm talking to all of these black boxes. Anybody wants to open up their camera, I'll be delighted. Thank you. Okay, so it's always an honor. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it, mamash. It's always an honor for me to be on the Nishmat program and to be with you really holy ladies that are doing something so special for all of Klal Israel and really tiskule mitzvot. And I could only, it's just so heartwarming to be here. And Hashem hears your tefillot and appreciates them. And we never should underestimate the koach of our tefillot. I want to tell you, I've been here before, and interesting thing, one time I was recently coming back from the States, and I was sitting on a flight, and it was a full flight, and it was me sitting there, and another woman, and the three of us are all, you know, like with our tichels or whatever on, and pull out our Tehillim books and start to say Tehillim, and the woman next to me turns to me and said, I think I know you. I've seen you before. You're Gila? I said, yeah. She said, yeah, I heard you on Nishmat. That was really cute. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different to what I've done previously. I want to actually address a little bit more the Hoshen, the actual Hoshen Mishpat. This was the garment, one of the garments worn by the high priest, by the Kohen Gadol in his service in the Beit HaMikdash. Okay, now on the Hoshen Mishpat, on the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol, there were 12 precious stones. And these are called the Avnei Hahoshen. And that's what I work with. And I'll discuss it a little bit later, of course, because it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't discuss that with you. But I want to let's become a little bit familiar with what the Hoshen is. Can you make me a co-host?
Oh, yes, sorry, I'm going to co-host you. I apologize. Give me a second.
No problem. Thank you.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Here we go.
Great. Now, so we're going to look at the different elements. So first of all, I want to start with a story, which is a true story. Maybe not a true picture, but it's a true story. Yeah. Okay, see, what am I showing you here? About 6 years ago, I moved with my husband and I moved to a new home. We moved to a different yeshuv. We were living in a yeshuv in the Shomron, and we've now moved to a different yeshuv in Binyamin. Binyamin is a part of the Shomron as well. The area of Binyamin, Jerusalem is also part of Binyamin. We're located maybe near Modi'in, just FYI. So we decided to leave our home where we had been living for 26 years and to move to this new home. We bought a house. Some of my kids said, you're crazy. Look at the house. It's such a weird house. It's got corners everywhere. And it is really a strange house. And I had an architect in to see what could be done. There was no lounge room, you like a couch. Oneg Shabbat. When is Oneg Shabbat? After Shabbat, the meal's over. You sit on the couch, you put your feet up, whatever, you relax and read. That to me is my Oneg Shabbat. And I didn't have an Oneg Shabbat place. So we had to have the architect, and she found a place. She said, we're going to close in the balcony here, and we're going to break down the wall, and we're going to put up big, beautiful windows, and we have a stunning view. So it's a much nicer view than here, but this gives you an idea. And then in order to do all the renovations on our house, we had a builder. We decided we're only taking a Jewish builder. And we had this wonderful group of guys, and the downstairs, which is where I am now, that's where my clinic is where we actually lived for 3 months while they fixed our house up. And there's Jewish guys, so we had Jewish music going. Sometimes we had minyan in the house and all different things. And we're probably the only people that could say this, but building the house or renovating, whatever it was actually an amazing experience. Okay, it was really a great experience for us. And when they finished and the house was ready, of course, we were excited, and we moved our things upstairs, and Baruch Hashem, Hodu Lashem Ki Tov, Ki L'olam Chasdo. We had a Chanukah Habayit, and we invited people, and we told them about what an amazing experience it was, and how we knocked this wall down, and we added this in, etc. And whenever anybody would come into our house, we would tell them, this is what happened, and this is what we did, and this is how we did it, and we had the Jewish builders, and it was such an amazing experience. And even to this day, if somebody, 6 years later, somebody will ask us about our house, we'll be happy to share that experience with you. Now, I'm not stumped telling you this story, okay? I will continue. So here we have the priestly garments. They're discussed in Parshat Tetzaveh, and they're discussed in Parshat Pekudei. Like, what's the story here? We know that in the Sefer Torah, in the Torah, there is not one extra word. So again, it's all in detail what was constructed and how it was constructed. It's written twice. So first of all, one issue is that the first time in Parshat Tetzaveh, this is how it should be built. Moshe is given the instructions to give to Betzalel and Oholiav of how to actually build all the garments, how to create the garments to be worn by the Kohen Gadol, Aaron, and his sons, who were the Kohanim. So that was told to us in Parshat Tetzaveh. And then in Parshat Pekudei, which we're going to be reading on Shabbat, please God, we're told the garments were created, the garments would get built. They were made, okay, according to the specifications. So one is the command, and one is that it's been done, and that it's been done correctly. And there's also, I believe, the excitement, like Lahavdil, of course, like I share the excitement of my new home. So too, this was Hashem's dwelling. The place for his Shekhinah was built. This was an excitement for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's something very special, and it was being shared again because of his love of this. Now we understand. Okay, so it's written twice. Now, let's understand. There was a commandment given in the Midbar, in the desert. The Jews are wandering in the desert, and there's a commandment given to build the Mishkan. After Hashem has forgiven them for the sin of the golden calf, then they're told, okay, bring all your jewels, bring all your everything, and I want you to, we're going to build the Mishkan. The Mishkan, oh, hang on. Okay. 1 second, should be there. The Mishkan, okay, what is the Mishkan? The Mishkan is the tabernacle, and that was like a portable or a mobile spiritual center in the middle of the desert, and it had big beams on it, which they would carry, and they had like wagons, which they would put things on, right? There were ways of packing it up, and they would put items on these wagons, and they would journey through the desert, okay? And there was a specific way. You see the flags in this picture talk about this is the way that Bnei Israel camped around the area of the Mishkan. Now, the Mishkan was kept for about 450 years, okay? It was used for 39 years in the desert, because it was completed 1 year after they came to the desert, after Bnei Israel left Mitzrayim, 1 year, and it was sanctified, or the Chanukah Mishkan, it was dedicated on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So as we come up to Rosh Chodesh Nisan on Sunday, you can think of something else that we're going to be, we're thankful for and that we're commemorating on Rosh Chodesh Nisan is the dedication of the Mishkan. Now, it was all built separately in separate pieces, and it had to be constructed and put together. And that was challenging, and people couldn't do it, and they started, teasing Moshe, it's not going to happen, not going to do it. And then Moshe just touched it all, and it was all put together in the perfect way. Hashem helped him. So, okay, so we have the Mishkan, and the Kohanim need to wear their garments when they're serving in the Mishkan, and the Kohen Gadol needs to wear all his garments. Now, you have to wonder, okay, let's say they came out in Mitzrayim, they left Mitzrayim, and when they left with gold and silver, things that the Egyptians gave them, or they were told to take from the Egyptians, depends which way you look at it. But there were all of these different, they came out with stones and different things, precious stones and things. They left with wealth. And Hashem wants us to have wealth. Look at Avraham Avinu, look at Yitzchak, look at Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu, when he worked by Lavan had so much wealth because of Yaakov's presence. And then when Yaakov left Lavan to return home, he left with great wealth. King Solomon, we know all these people had wealth. So it's not something that is, God forbid, scorned. It's something Hashem wants us to have this comfort. So we all together wish for Hashem to bring down this wealth so that we can worship Him. We can use it in wonderful ways for our families and for everything else. And Be'ezrat Hashem, everybody should have shefa, abundance of all goodness. Bnei Israel have got, so they've got different stones. And in addition to that, when they left Mitzrayim, they crossed the Red Sea, they crossed the Yam Suf, and all the Mitzrayim, all the Egyptians that were there were drowned. Their horses, their chariots were all adorned with gold and with silver and with precious stones. And there they were standing, collecting all the goods. I mean, it's a little bit of a shame. You could just imagine seeing all this gold and silver and all this fabulous stuff scattered around the sea and just saying, okay, we've got to keep on going. So they grabbed it. Some Mefarshim say that there was more there than what they took out with them from Mitzrayim. But at any rate, they had even more gold and silver and precious stones with them. So Bnei Israel left with great rechush, and they had with what to donate for the building of the Mishkan. Okay, the tabernacle, this temporary place for the Shekhinah, for Hashem's Shekhinah to reside. So let's say that we have these stones, but we know that we were told that they had to be a certain size. They have to be a ribua. Certain measurements are given to us for the Avnei Hahoshen. Now, I don't imagine that the Egyptians had all their jewelry was in this perfect size, and they had to be complete pieces. So how did that happen? How did they get to fit in? So it talks about that there was the shamir. The shamir was a certain worm, and this worm was able to engrave in all of the stones. And on the stones, on each of the stones, was engraved the name of the tribe, and was also engraved Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Shiftei Yisrael. This is from Machon HaMikdash in Jerusalem. It's not mine. And so we have this shamir, which was around, this worm was around until until after the second Beit HaMikdash. Since then, we haven't seen this worm. So, so that's one option, and that's what the Midrash brings down about where these stones came from. In the Talmud, in the Gemara, in Yoma, it talks about the fact that the stones rained down while they were in the desert. The stones actually rained down from the sky together with the manna that sustained the people. The food that people ate was the manna, and the stones came down as well. So one way or another, there were stones for the Hoshen. Okay, now what did this Hoshen Mishpat? The word Mishpat means judgment. Okay, and and what did it symbolize? This symbolized Hashem's presence and judgment. And that was the Hoshen Mishpat that was worn on the heart of the Kohen Gadol. Okay, so on his heart was the Hoshen Mishpat, and the Hoshen Mishpat symbolizing the entire Jewish nation, because remember, there are 12 stones there. Each one of those stones, as you can see here in the picture, you can see they're each different, like Am Yisrael. We're each different to one another, but we are together. We are united on the heart of the Kohen Gadol. That's like one of my big things that I really believe it represented. Also the achdut of the Jewish people, the unity of the Jewish people. And I think we are all well aware of the importance of the unity of Am Yisrael. We've got somebody decorating our presentation. Thank you. So we see this unity, this important unity of Am Yisrael, and it's a high value. And please God, Hashem should grant us that we will be able to have this achdut once again very soon, and it should just be strengthened. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, when was it actually worn? When did the Kohen Gadol wear these garments? So he wore them all the time that he was serving in the Beit HaMikdash or in the Mishkan. Okay, we said that the Mishkan lasted all the way through. It was through the desert. It was in Shiloh for 369 years. It was in Nov. It was in various places. So Sach Kol, we had the Mishkan for about 450 years, somewhere around there. Then the Kohen Gadol, all this time, and it tells us that the clothes are to be passed down from Aaron HaKohen. They're to be passed down to his sons when they become the Kohen Gadol, and these clothes should be passed down. So on Yom Kippur, when the Kohen Gadol did his service, he was wearing all of his beautiful garments, except when he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, from where Hashem spoke to him. So first of all, there are two things. Number one, he was wearing 4 linen garments when he went in there. And number two, which is very pure, very simple, very direct communication. This was like he was in direct communion with Hashem, and there was no external medium needed, because through the Hoshen Mishpat and the Urim v'Tumim, which we'll talk about in a minute, that is how Hashem communicated with the Kohen Gadol and with the Am Yisrael. But he didn't need that. He didn't need that medium when he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur. The other thing is he wasn't to wear any gold. And the Hoshen was attached to the ephod. Okay, here you can see the ephod, which is like a belt. And there are gold chains and gold pieces. Okay, and the Hoshen and the Avnei Hahoshen, as you can see, are actually a part of the Hoshen Mishpat. So part of the breastplate were the 12 stones. So we have actually 2 reasons. We have the issue of the gold and the fact that he was going into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. He was close with Hashem. He didn't need any intermediary for him. And those are the 2 reasons why he was not wearing these garments when he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur. He went in there once a year, Yom Kippur only. Now you'll notice here that there's like a pocket for the Urim v'Tumim. The Urim v'Tumim it's a mystical, it's a very difficult to define, not clearly known piece of the garments of the Kohen Gadol. And this was how he received prophetic guidance from Hashem for the nation. So whether it was going out to war or whether it was questions that were asked when different things, he would receive answers through the Urim v'Tumim, and different stones and different letters would light up. So here you can see that there's like a pocket in here, and this pocket is through here is the Urim v'Tumim, and here we have this pocket. Now, I just I want to say that these pictures, most of these pictures that I'm using come from a place called Machon HaMikdash. Machon HaMikdash is the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. It's in the old city of Jerusalem, and they create all the vessels and garments for the Beit HaMikdash, please God, according to specifications in the Torah. They study it and then they create it. It's a fascinating, wonderful place to go, and I highly recommend it. I've been going there for many years with my children, with the grandchildren, with my husband, whomever. It's always a treat to go there, okay? I feel that's important to mention here as well. Okay, now we have a little bit of understanding about this Hoshen and what it may have been used for and represented. So where do I fit in here? So I work with the Avnei Hahoshen, the 12 stones, and they are used for healing and for understanding of what is going on for a person through a person's choice of stones or crystals, whatever you want to call them, stones, crystals, gemstones, minerals, call them what you like. Through a person's choice of stones, I'm going to understand what's going on for a person, emotionally, physically, etc. It's actually quite an amazing thing. And I have over 100 different stones. So then you're going to turn to me and you're going to say, hello, Gila, there are only 12 Avnei Hahoshen. What's going on? We'll get to that, okay? But first of all, I want to establish the kosherness, the validity, the acceptance in our sources of using stones for healing, of using them. So if we go to the Gemara, okay, and the Gemara was like written around 1500 years ago in the year 500, and it says Yotzim be'even tkuma b'Shabbat shema tapelet havlad. A woman can on Shabbat carry with her the even tkuma in order to prevent her from having a miscarriage. So they understood at the time of the Gemara that this stone, the even tkuma, or what we call today the carnelian, is a stone that can be used in order to prevent miscarriages. They were using stones at the time. Okay, we are also told that Avram Avinu had a stone on his neck, and when people looked at that stone, they were healed. So it was a concept that people understood. If we go on to the Ibn Ezra, okay, the Ibn Ezra is from the 12th century Spanish Kabbalist. He also talked about the stones. He said that power is going to be found, power, koach, energy in each of the stone. And then he goes and he gives examples. The stone that attracts iron and the stone that enriches the blood. There are those stones and we use them today. So this was something that was being used, and our greatest sages talk about this. And then we have Rabbeinu Bachaye, who was from the 13th century, a Spanish Kabbalist. He talks immensely. He goes on and on about the Avnei Hahoshen, what each of them mean and what they can do and they can help. He says, "Ein lecha kol even ve'even mina avanim hayakarot shelo timshoch koach min ha'elyonim." There is no stone from among the precious stones that will not bring power down from above. So recognizing that there is a koach, that there is an energy from the stones that is being brought down from above. They're not these inanimate objects that just look pretty. They are way, way more than that. They are imbued with koach from Hashem. And it is incumbent upon us to use this koach that Hashem has given. And we can see how they used it in the time of the Gemara. And in addition, Rabbeinu Bachaye also tells us, he said, Kol ha'avanim hem me'anfehem v'toldotehem shel Avnei Hahoshen. All of the stones are derivatives of the 12 Avnei Hahoshen. So there were 12 Hoshen stones, and then there are lots of other stones. So they are the great grandparents of all of the Avnei Hahoshen, of all of the Hoshen stones. Okay, all of the stones are derivatives. So these stones here are all part and parcel of the Avnei Hahoshen. So therefore, when I tell you I have 100 stones in my kit, they're all holy, they're all gifts from Hashem, and we can use them, and we should use them. I want to tell you as well that in the Zohar, okay, which we know was written, okay, was compiled from the works of Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. This was in the 2nd century. It was not compiled by him, by Rabbi Moshe de Leon in the 13th century, but these are early works, and it says they're not only ornamental, they have embedded with heavenly light, transmitting spiritual energy to the wearer. So these are holy, special, precious things. And then we have the Sefer HaRefuah, which is from somewhere between the 3rd and the 6th century. This is the first Hebrew medical work, ancient Hebrew medical text that is written, okay, by somebody by the name of Rabbi Asaph. And he talks about as well. He talks about, for example, the ruby being beneficial for fertility. And I want to tell you, it's true. Really, I have sets of stones that I use for that I help people with for fertility, and they include the ruby. I include the carnelian, which I mentioned, the Even Tkuma. There are incredible stories with the Even Tkuma and about one of the women a woman who was in her 40s and she fell pregnant, and she came to me and she said, Gila, I haven't had a child for many years and I'm pregnant and I'm a bit nervous. Do you have something? I gave her a set of stones to help her maintain her pregnancy. Then what happened was later on, okay, when it came time for her to have her baby, she was part of a chamula, a whole family. A chamula is like a clan, and they're all sitting together. It's like, when's this baby going to be born? And she's having these very slow contractions. And then one of her sister-in-laws said to her, what are you carrying there? She said, these are the stones from Gila. It's like, yeah, that's for your pregnancy. Now get rid of them. She took them away. Her waters broke and the labor progressed. It's unbelievable. And when I went, she's still, this child is 10 years old today. And when I went to see her, Lo Aleinu, her son was killed in Lebanon in the war, Gibor Chayil. She had to sit me down next to her and make sure to tell everybody about the incredible stones. And of course, I knew she responds very well. So I'd actually taken stones with me to help her during this challenging period of mourning. Okay, and the Chida also. Okay, the Chida is from the 18th century. He also talks about using the stones for healing. So I think that we can feel very confident and comfortable using crystals for healing. Crystals, gemstones, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Okay, using these special gifts that Hashem has given us for healing. Okay, I'm going to do one stone because I think we're a little bit short on time at the moment. But I'll just want to tell you that, for example, the ruby is the Odem from the tribe of Reuven. And notice Adam, he blushed when his father told him off about rearranging his mother's bed, okay, because whatever, okay, but that relates, and it tells us of the qualities of this stone, okay. It does help to safeguard pregnancy. It is good for fertility. It's also good to help us focus, and it helps us have vitality and energy, and has so many other qualities. So the stones do so much for us that it is really, I believe, and I feel strongly, incumbent upon all of us to embrace this gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us. Okay, you're welcome to ask me questions, and I run things all the time, all different sorts of free events all the time. So you're welcome to join and to reach out to me with the greatest of pleasure. Yeah, Toby.
Gila.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna Gila, why was the healing of the stones lost? Like, what happened? Like, if it was
It's a really good question that I can't explain, though I want to tell you in the Haredi world, in the very Haredi world, I'm not sure that it was lost, because whenever the more Haredi the community, I give a workshop, they're interested to find out because it's interesting, but they don't have any questions about this. There's no questions whatsoever about whether to use them or whether not to use them. They know that they could be used. And there's a Gemachim Bnei Brak for this stone and that stone in many cities. And even Rabbanim, are giving authorization to use them. They know about this, whether it's for jaundice, for a baby to have his Brit on time.
I send somebody to you for that.
Yeah, so so many things. So yes, so for sure.
So I know that in Toronto, I know that some of the doulas were using specific stones for that. I know that, and I went to this very big makubal, and he had some huge stones. Stones. He had huge stones, and I have some stones in my bedroom that I put. I don't really know much about them, but I have some stones. But most people we're not very knowledgeable about stones.
Even, I don't know if you've heard of Yemima Avital. She was an amazing woman who never married, and she gave over Divrei Torah.
Is that the Yemima writing? Is that the Yemima writing you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes. And she had stones as well. Okay. She also, so it's a known thing. And I think that we didn't know about it. Okay.
Right.
And it's our influence, but it did definitely get lost somewhere.
What attracted you to it? What attracted you to in that
area?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. I briefly, I was working at a university, and I kept on saying, "This isn't good for my neshama. This isn't good for my neshama." And then I saw a course advertised as Avnei Hahoshen and crystals as X-ray to your inner being. It sounded so fascinating to me, and I knew zero about crystals at the time. And it sort of worked in with my life incredibly well, and I went for it. And then my husband said to me, Gila, this is something you've got to work in because you're so passionate about it. So Baruch Hashem, here I am today.
Wow, amazing. Shulamit, go ahead, Shulamit. Your hands raised. Go ahead. Shulamit, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, it does take me a minute to tell me. First of all, thank you. That was fascinating, Gila. Is there any substance behind like the general worldview that each month carries a stone, and when your birthday is, then you have a specific stone that's for you? How would I find out about my one?
Okay, so it goes like this. This is something created by Hallmark. You know the cards, Hallmark?
Okay. Is it really?
Yeah.
Even the stone connected to our birthdays?
Because astrology is a thing in Jewish.
But there are stones, because in Sefer HaYetzirah, which they say they give Sefer HaYetzirah written either by Adam Harishon or Avram Avinu, it talks about the stones, and it talks about the connections and the months. And I've created a calendar, which is a free download on my website, and I've put my website there. You can just go and download it for free. Okay, a calendar which tells you which month, which stone, and it tells you some of the properties of the stone. And it's beautifully, it's beautiful. You can buy a hard copy as well, but you could download a copy for free. Okay, so feel free. You've got the website address there to go in and download. Okay, and then you'll have the correct stones for the month.
Does that mean that the month? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Does that mean that the month that I was born in? Does that mean that stone has a special path for me, or no? It's just
I don't know. I don't know, but it's nice to know.
Good question.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, not enough has been done, and whatever. I'm not sure the answer. Okay, I'll be honest.
Okay, and I've got one question that's always bothered me, and maybe you've thought about this because you work in that. So the Kohen Gadol, right? He has the Hoshen that were in Urim on his breastplate, and then when they light up, that holds the answer to the question that was being posed. But he can't see it because it's there. Somebody's got to read it who's facing him.
I'm sure he had a way.
Is that true?
It was quite far down.
But you can't see what's on your own breast.
He knew it, and maybe he felt it. Okay, it was a spiritual thing. So he would have. I believe he wasn't relying on somebody else to feed back the information to him. Okay.
That was my feeling as well. That maybe he felt it in his heart, but. It's just an interesting practical question about how did that work?
It's fascinating, actually.
Because they lit up. Somebody would have to see them lighting up in the right order and the letters.
Wow, it's so interesting how we've lost all these healing modalities. We've lost everything that has come. Like it's just unbelievable.
How they say that Abraham gave the gifts to Hagar.
Right.
she took
9
them
out
to
of
the
10
east.
were taken away from us because of
So yeah, so a lot of the East, they do hold these things, but then you have to
right.
separate that out from the tumor. So
Yeah.
but it's
Okay,
interesting.
Toby, go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shalami. Toby, go ahead.
Thank you, Naomi. I have a couple of questions, and I'm really fascinated by this subject because one day I experienced it. I was randomly in a store and I felt so wonderful. And by the cash, there was a display of all these stones. And I looked down and I realized, oh my gosh, I'm actually feeling it. I'm feeling the energy. So,
Wow.
yes, I really do believe in it. I just wanted to ask you two questions. Number one, the Yahalom is not a diamond, but in Hebrew, Yahalom is a diamond. So I was just wondering if you could
It is a
comment on
diamond.
that. Oh, it is a diamond?
Look at this here. I just show you here. This is what I put. These are the Avnei Hahoshen. It's not a Hoshen. 12 Avnei Hahoshen. And you'll see over here is the Yahalom. It's a diamond, and you see that it's tiny compared to the others because it is a diamond. But it's amazing to have the Avnei Hahoshen in my home. I really feel the energy. I
That's
have to tell you,
incredible.
it makes a big difference.
And the other question is regarding the terms Hoshen Mishpat and Urim Tumim. So if you can distinguish the actual breastplate, the stones, you called that the Hoshen Mishpat, and the Urim
Yeah.
Tumim is the pocket, the garment that is the pocket. But Urim Tumim means Urim, things that light up.
They lit up the stones. We can't
Right.
understand. I think my personal feeling is it's like total, it's so fascinating. But to think that we're going to really understand how the Urim Tumim work and how they lit up the stones, it wasn't done like a light switch was turned on. It came from above, like the korbanot. How was the korban consumed? Ne'et Hashem, you know?
But I'm just asking specifically about the Lashon because the pocket was singular. Urim Tumim is plural. So isn't it referring to the stones? Because the Urim, as you said, is lighting up. Tumim means to block, right? A tomb. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Does not.
No, the pocket was a thing, and they were lights, but it's not my area of expertise that I'm gonna feel comfortable giving you explanations on all of that, okay?
All right.
Gila, I
what was
want to
the
ask you,
cloth?
Gila,
Sorry.
why do you think that the diamond, Gila, why do you think from all the stones that the
Okay.
diamond became the most, why do you think the diamond became the most,
Popular
like,
to give,
yeah, why do you think that was?
because first of all, it's a very strong, durable stone. It's the most strong and durable stone. That's one. This is a stone of riches, wealth. Shevet Zvulun was known as wealthy tribe. It supported Shevet Issachar that learned Torah. And the other thing is it also talks about courage. And I always say that for a woman, right, certainly where I come from, when a young woman gets engaged, she gets a diamond ring. And
Right.
I do believe that this tradition came from the fact that a woman, when she gets engaged, and to go into the whole marriage and responsibility and relationship, she needs a lot of courage. And the diamond represents courage. Okay.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. That's really something. And why do you like if you look at some of the stones, right? Like rubies or emerald, right? Emeralds is a very, right? But if you look at I'm November, so like I'm topaz. Like I grew up, like my mother gave me topaz. Right?
Okay.
Right? I have topaz earrings. I have like different topaz.
Fantastic.
But
Topaz
it wasn't
is the Pekudei. Yeah.
right. But it never became as valuable, let's say, as
Because it depends where they're mined and what the cost is, etc. It's and the hardness of the stones. So you have stones that are actually more expensive than diamonds as well, but it's very much depending on the rarity of the stone, the quality of the stone, all different things. Okay, the price of the crystal.
I also really wonder, like, when you think about it, the Kohen Gadol, right? How, the Hoshen that they wore, and like the concept of stones being valuable today, right? Like it really, when you think about it, if we didn't put value to a diamond, it wouldn't be valuable, right?
It was
If it wouldn't,
valuable then too.
but that's what I'm saying. That's probably one of the reasons why it's valuable today, right? It's like the same thing. If we didn't, if you called your nose an eye, the only reason it's a nose, right? No, but it's right. So it's the same sort of thing. Like when something is, how does its value goes up, right? It's in demand. The greater demand it is, right? The more expensive it becomes, the more it, right? The more people want it, right? And we are the ones that put value to things, right? So
there is an intrinsic
it's
value.
so interesting. The Hoshen, it's so interesting because maybe that's why they're valuable today. Maybe the stones, it really is coming from that time.
Remember, they were valuable then. Remember that
Right.
Eliezer took stones to Rivka. He took, the ruby,
Right.
the stone. They didn't just take the stones because they
That's what
wanted,
I'm saying.
So we know, and it's also the more difficult it is to get hold of stuff, the more expensive, the more rare, the more appreciated it is. Yeah.
Does the diamond have more of a healing power than the other stones? And how accurate is the like today's, with the birthstones? Does that connect to a person really?
That's what we were saying. Those birthstones are not particularly. Okay. Download my calendar, okay? Go over there.
May I ask something?
But what about
One second, Rivki was finishing off.
sorry.
Go ahead, Rivki.
Sorry, I didn't say hello because I didn't even realize that I was unmuted because I tried before. Also, I lived in the Old City. Are you familiar with Yashara Gold?
Yeah, I know her.
So she came when I was very sick with hepatitis. She came with her stones, and at
Oh,
that point,
good.
yeah, I thought she was crazy because, like, I'm an FFB from Brooklyn. Like, that stuff 40 years, 30 years ago, it just didn't mean anything. But they probably were because I got better.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
They are unbelievable. Ma rabu ma'asecha Hashem, how great are the wonders of Hashem. They are trufot of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, Hashem's medications.
Okay, we're going to take one more question, and then we're going to finish off with the rest of our tefillah. It's getting late already. Go ahead, Pamela. Go ahead. Pamela, did you want to ask something?
You're muted, Pamela. You're on mute. We can't hear.
Am I on now? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I could figure out stones faster than I could figure out phones. Okay, first of all, the Urim Vitumim, as far as I understand, they were actually parchments. Parchment, I think, I'm not sure if the name of the Shevet was written on it or what, but it was some parchment behind. I know nothing more than that.
It was a folded thing.
Yeah. But besides that, which more to your expertise, I know someone, a lovely rabbi who is very into stones. He has break fronts full of stones, and he says that actually today, let's say a sapphire is not what we think of as sapphire. Like if I would say I want the sapphire, it's not what we visualize, this navy blue stone. That somehow what they originally were and what they are today are not necessarily the same. And also there's some stones that have even negative energy, and you have to be careful not to keep them in your proximity. So I would even suggest and see, is there anything that let's say like we were talking about diamonds, never mind the value, but let's say that the clarity of the diamond, but it doesn't have to be a diamond, any stone, depending on how, let's say, clean it is, unmarked, unmaimed, does that strengthen its power? And two, there combinations of stones, how do they work synergistically, or are they in opposition? It seems like there needs to be something like a balance. If we just think of electricity, there's positive, there's negative, there's a grounder. And it seems to me that there should be that within the stones as well, that there's something that should be balancing them and grounding them and making sure that
But I think people like Gila know exactly. They learn the stones and they
No,
understand the balances of the stones, right?
That's my question. Is that known today? Is that even a thing?
Yeah, look, there are great rabbis that recommend stones to women, the ruby. So I'm
Right.
not sure, you know, and it's the ruby is the ruby is the ruby.
No, but
Okay, and
I
also
think
during Corona, they talked about, and one of the great rabbonim said it's a schooler to wear this. In a time of a plague, you should be wearing a ruby. And that came like from the Chazon Ish to his grandson, to the next person. So, you know, a lot of people say a lot of things. I don't know. I know what I know, and I don't want to go up against any rabbi. And there are different sets of stones. We put them together and they do amazing things. So whether it's for sleep, whether it's for kids or people that have a lot of extra energy, whether it's for menopause, whether it's for strengthening the immune system, we put stones together and we have different sets of stones for different purposes.
Right. Okay, guys, I have to stop it because I have to go out because we have to finish. Gila, this was unbelievable. Thank you so much. It was really incredible.
Thank you, Gila. Lovely to meet everybody. And
You
feel
too,
free to be
Gila.
in touch. My website is in the chat. Okay.
I'll share it too. Don't worry, Gila. I'll share your
Thank you
website
so much.
on the. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much for giving us a better understanding.